Hello everybody and welcome to this mini session of our new course called English for Teachers. My name is Stephen Herder. I'm one of the teammates from iTDI, the International Teacher Development Institute. And tonight we're going to show you a little bit about what an EFT live weekly webinar might look like. So hi everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi there. Hi.
Nice to see everybody. So we're going to get right into it because we hope this is going to be an active kind of session. But I wanted to introduce, we're very lucky tonight to have a couple of the original authors of the EFT, English for Teachers, original authors here. So we have Chuck Sandy.
Yes, I'm very happy to be here as part of this group. I was one of the original authors along with Barbara Austin Sakamoto here and Kate Corey Wright. And so it's a pleasure to have this course live now. And
yes, we're finally getting it off the ground for you.
In a new way than we originally imagined.
Yeah, we finally found a good way to present it, I think.
Yeah. And Barb, go ahead.
Yes. Oh, well, originally when we looked at starting an English for Teachers course, we realized that most of the courses available to teachers would either teach them the English they needed to manage their classrooms or were grammar classes. And what we noticed that teachers couldn't take advantage of was all of the free professional development that was available online. Because either they didn't have the English vocabulary to talk about teaching in English, or they didn't have the confidence to participate with other speakers of English. So we thought if we could develop a course that both taught teachers how to talk about teaching while learning about teaching, then they could take advantage of everything that's available and learn themselves.
And that's why we are here. We want to make it really clear to everybody that this is not a webinar where you're supposed to sit and listen to one person share all their experiences, but it's really trying to be an active, focusing on your opportunities to speak and listen. And so we hope to create discussions in this kind of format. And just to remind people that a good discussion has balance. And when there are lots of people being involved in it, and you can do something like click on a reaction that you want to say something or put your hand up, we'll see everybody. Or you can type directly in the chat and that pops up for us as well. So that's the idea of trying to find ways for yourself to be active. Finally, we'd like to say that iTDI, we really pride ourselves in trying to make a good community. And for us, a good community is somewhere where it's safe, where it's natural, you can be yourself and people will listen. And so we ask everybody to try to do that, to try to be active listeners, to try to ask follow-up questions, be patient, and think about that old golden rule of treating other people the way that you would like to be treated yourself. So on these webinars, we're going to have 3 different little sections. And the first section is going to be talking about things that you've already written in the forum. So if I go over and show you just briefly, I'm going to show you what the forum looks like. On our iTDI community page, you'll see EFT Lesson 1, How Can We Become Better Language Learners? That was our free Lesson 1 topic. And then once you get to the an activity that's called Post to the Forum, and this is the one thing I did to help me learn English. And so if you've taken the time to write this all out, think about it and write it out, we'd like you now to come up one at a time and just kind of talk about some of those things. And you can see that looking through it, we had a number of people, as we've just started this, post to the forum already. So we're back in the main group. Who's gonna start?
I'm very sorry to lower the tone of this discussion, but I learned my foreign languages most successfully in a bar.
Tell us more.
Well, in that kind of social setting, of course, I was with locals, and they kind of felt sorry for me, and so they allowed me to converse with them about all kinds of topics using the language that I had. And they were very kind, and they let me sort of, it must have been very painful to listen to me talking about politics, for example, in Japanese, but they were very polite and very kind, and they let me ramble away. But then they also modified their own language to help me understand their ideas, and so, you know, it was a fabulous way to improve my fluency in spoken Japanese.
Yeah, that's a great story. Thanks, Gareth. Anybody else?
Well, I was going to say also, and if you're not on camera like Rose, feel free to type your story in the chat. We'll all see it too.
Good.
So
I studied the first year I came to Japan. Like many people, I didn't have enough money to actually take lessons, but in the second year, I immediately put myself in a 4 hours a day from 8 in the morning till noon, and then I went to work, you know, an intensive Japanese class. But I was scared to death to talk afterwards. As talkative as I am, I was very shy, and I was working very late at this company, and we often had to take a taxi home at late in the evening. But that's where I learned to speak Japanese, was with taxi drivers. And of course, they would never speak to me because they had no idea if I could speak Japanese. But I found 2 magic sentences. One of them was, "What happened with the Hanshin Tigers baseball team today?" And then they just went off, and I could go back and forth, or I would ask them, "How's the weather going to be tomorrow?" And they would go off. And so that was, I was excited to get in a taxi 2 or 3 times a week to have a chance to talk.
it's really exciting.
Yeah.
What about you, Theodora?
Well, it's different from me because I don't live in a foreign country. So all the foreign languages that I have learned and I keep learning, I have to use them somehow in my own country. So with English, when I was a teenager, the only thing that made me express myself or speak were the lyrics of a song. So in order to understand the lyrics, I learned by heart all the songs and I sang. I don't sing well, but this helped me a lot with speaking. You know, when I started speaking, when I found somebody else, a foreigner, to speak in English, then all the songs and all the vocabulary I have learned helped me a lot.
This is a sudden question. Do you remember any of the early songs you learned? You made me. Go ahead.
Of course.
Of course. Well, I was, as I still am, a big Duran Duran fan. I suppose all of you remember them. And yeah, because I think that their lyrics were like poetry, because they had really difficult vocabulary for a 15-year-old. When I was like 14, 15, it was really difficult, and I had to use all the dictionaries. We didn't have internet back then. So it was a hard study for me.
Yeah.
If you go back and listen to the lyrics of Ordinary World, they seem quite appropriate in today's chaos.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Victor Hugo, you're kind of in the same boat as Theodora. How did you learn English in Peru?
Okay, I started learning English when I was in the primary school. It was a long time ago. Yes, the last 2 years of primary school, I had a teacher, an English teacher. It was his name was Victor Rojas, similar to me.
Wow.
Yes, Victor Rojas. He was my first English teacher. And then in the secondary school, the first year, I don't remember well those years, but the last 2 years of secondary school, I had the best English teacher for me, in the secondary school. So I think that he was the English teacher that inspired me to be an English teacher.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Then I entered the university. Sorry, I entered the university at 1976. Yes, I had to be a teacher. And when I was in the second year, the military revolution in Peru closed the university.
Oh,
Yes, closed the university for 3 years. So, but
Wow.
I just what I did, I just in 1978 approximately, yes, I started to study English at the ACPB, Asociación Cultural Peruano Británica, yes,
mm,
Mm.
in Peru. Yes, I've studied English for 3 years. For the year the university was closed.
wow.
When I returned to university, I, well, I finished my career. Then I started English. I started teaching English at, in a secondary school far from the city. And I tried to do my best as an English teacher because in those years, I remember we had the opportunity to attend some seminars from bookshops. Yes,
Yep.
then I participate with some seminars, some courses, short courses with the Ministry of Education. Yes, I think that I developed my English by participating in courses.
It
And,
sounds like you've been a lifelong learner, hey?
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah, going back to
permanently.
1976. That's just amazing.
Yes,
You here.
Right.
Let's look at
yes.
Rose.
Rose,
Yeah.
yeah.
Over Rose wrote a nice comment. One of the things, I'll just read it quickly. One of the things I did was creating a routine to study. I also like talking to people when I lived in England and Egypt. I like interacting with people. I made mistakes, of course, and I laughed at my own mistakes. Well, that's a really nice way. So we're going to move on just over to the second part. I'm going to show you again now. That was great fun, the first part.
I was going to add that I watched a lot of television when I first
Did you?
came.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and one of the participants in the forum today, I read, was talked about how she'd leave the TV on while she was just doing other things around the house.
Mm-hmm.
I would do that sometimes too, but I had a couple of shows early on that I really liked, that Japanese dramas that I would watch. One was called Dr. Koto,
Mm-hmm.
a long, long time ago. And I find it's like, watching a drama like that every week, you start to know the characters and the same language comes up. And
Yeah, that's really
that's
true.
one of the things I did. Too.
Chuck, you just took us so nicely into the next segue, because the next, it was just asking questions. What other EFT teachers' experiences resonated with you? And you just riffed on watching TV shows based on something you saw on the forum, right?
Yeah, well, I was just really interested in what one of the people in the forum said today about just, in her case, it was listening to the news.
Uh-huh. What I'm going to try to do here, just to show people watching, is that we also have the opportunity to move into breakout rooms. So we're going to do that right now, and there'll be small rooms with just 2 or 3 of us in there. But if you look in the chat right now, everybody should be able to see the 3 questions that we're going to be dealing with in this section. So like we said earlier, just try to keep a balance between the people in the room. It's random who's going to be with who. I think we'll wrap up there because we're right at 9:30, and it seems like I'm going to go to. I have a really nice feeling about having teachers in a room talking like this.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Seems very nice. Yeah. The stories we're going to hear.
Yeah.
Does everyone have access to all of the lessons in Module 2? Sorry, Module 1.
I've added everybody to Module 1.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good enough. So we'll carry on from here and see what we need to do before we open up. We're going to have the first webinar on the 16th, I believe, the Saturday night.